Hi, I'm Kurt from Hall Supply. Today, we're going to talk about spindles, bearings, races, castle nuts, seals, and hubs. Now, there are two kinds of hubs. Hubs are where the wheel gets attached to the trailer. And you have a brake hub. Now, this is a little bitty brake hub, but that's a brake hub. And we'll go into that in another video, how that works. But we have brake hubs for huge trailers and for little trailers. This is called an idler hub. And we have big idler hubs. That's for like a 7,000-pound axle. That's rare. But I'm going to just talk a little bit about how this works. This spindle is connected to your axle. In all modern spindles, there's a grease zert here. So if you travel, go on vacation, put your boat in the water, you can take a grease gun and just give it a couple of squirts, and that grease will go down into the axle and put grease in the bearings where they need to be. Now, don't count on that for regular maintenance. Regular maintenance, every 6,000 miles or 2 years, you need to change your grease in your hub. And we do that. We have professionals that do it. When we do that service here, we go ahead on the smaller trailers, we go ahead and put new bearings in there, a new seal in there, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to show you how this works. This is your seal. It's very important to keep the grease in that axle because that's how your spinning works. So this seal goes in the end of a hub. See, that doesn't have a seal in it. So that seal goes in the end of the hub. Inside of that hub is a race. That's called the inner race or the inner bearing. This bearing fits on the race. So nice. My father, about 5 years ago, at 95 years old, asked me if they still use Timken bearings. These are Timken type bearings. I can't believe it's the same thing they used in the 1930s, but it is. So that's how that works. We sell a kit that is greased with the bearings and the seal. And I'm not going to put that on there because I don't want a greasy mess. But that whole unit with this seal the seal goes here, and it's pressed on so the grease doesn't go past there. If you put too much grease in here, that grease is going to get pressure on it, get hot, and flow places you don't want it to flow. That's why you have to be careful not to over-grease these bearings. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So if we take this, after we've changed the bearings, changed the races, put a new seal in there, and we put this back on your trailer, and I guess I'm not going to do it because it's got a plug in the end. So now that goes on there. This is full of grease, don't forget. Inner bearing. The race is already in there, so we're going to put the outer bearing in there. Then there's a special washer and what we call a castle nut. And then when you tighten this castle nut, we do this right. You make it tight, and then you back off just a little bit, and then there's a little cotter pin that goes in there. It is important to keep this mechanism greased. If you don't, we had a customer call this morning that says, no problem, I've had my trailer for 12 years, and I don't have to grease it. Well, that might be true, but it might not be true. Maybe there's water in there, maybe there's condensation in there, and maybe there's corrosion on those bearings. But it's just important to do that. These hubs and bearings and axles last a long time if you take care of them. Don't forget, we have kits for all sizes of axles, all sizes of spindles, all sizes of bearings, and we have grease available too. But sometimes it's a whole lot easier to bring it to us. We have professionals back there that do it quickly and don't mind getting grease all over their hands, whether they have gloves on or not.